Today, Commander Replay becomes Standard Replay. We dive into the Standard format with Mono Red Burn. Time to burn some frickin' faces off. Hey guys, welcome back to Commander Replay. Today, we're going to look at something a little bit different. I'm actually running a Standard deck right now, because I do like to dabble in Standard from time to time. One of the deck archetypes that I like to play most in Standard is Burn. I love playing Burn decks. I've played Red decks for forever and ever. Of late, there haven't been a lot of great Burn decks, but that also opens up an opportunity because that means most people haven't geared their sideboards toward playing against a red deck. The last thing that you want to see is an opponent that has a lot of life gain and a lot of things like Blessed Alliance, where they can both kill your creature and gain a bunch of life. That stuff's really bad. I haven't been seeing that in a ton of deck lists right now because everyone's kind of focused on black-green and the combo decks and a number of other things. So I think there actually is a really good opportunity for red decks to be fairly successful right now. Now, I don't think you'll be able to win a large event like a GP or a Pro Tour with mono red right now, but I do think you can easily take down a Friday Night Magic if you are a skilled mono red player, and build your deck in a way to take down whatever top decks are being played at your local shop. And best of all, mono red decks are usually really cheap to build. We're in a two-man queue. I don't feel like this deck is ready to join a league or anything like that. It could use a bit more tuning before doing any larger type of event, but I have had a lot of success in the two-man queues over the past couple days with this deck. I did just make some tweaks right before this match, so hopefully those don't come back to bite us. I added a land, cut a 1-drop, and did a few other small things. So, we have 3 lands on our opening hand. We have Kari Zev, Chandra, Lath-Nuhelion, and Incendiary Flow. So we're going to go ahead and keep this hand. The only thing it's missing is a 1-drop. We're running 4 1-drops and 3 shocks, so we're not going to have a 1-drop every single game with this deck. This deck is built to go a little bit later than some of the more aggressive red decks that have been built over the years. So we'll play a Mountain, pass the turn. Aether Hub for our opponent. Not really sure what they're on yet. Blooming Marsh for our opponent, and a Voltaic Brawler, so it looks like probably green-red energy. I haven't faced this deck yet, so I'm curious to see how this matchup goes. So probably, maybe not green-red energy. They have a Blooming Marsh, so maybe Jund energy? Or even crazier, a 4-color energy deck? We'll see. I think the safest thing for now is probably just to blast this Voltaic Brawler. So Smoldering Marsh for our opponent, and a Glint Sleeve Siphoner. So we'll drop a Mountain. I want to save this Collective Defiance so I can use 2 modes. I think Lath-Nuhelion might be the right call here. If they want to block, that's fine with me. So Lath-Nuhelion, and go into combat. Let's see what the opponent does. Opponent takes it, goes to 16, so that worked. Pay the energy to keep our Lath-Nuhelion, and our opponent will... Let's see what they do on their upkeep. They have a couple energy, so yeah, they spend energy and draw an extra card. They go to 15. Opponent's going to swing back at us. That's going to get them another energy. They're up to 2 energy. And they get into us for 2 damage. Plays an Aether Hub, another energy. And an Electrostatic Pummeler. Okay, so what to do here? There's no green mana up, so he's probably not going to have a Blossoming Defense. We'll start by dropping our Mountain. I want to play Chandra, but I really can't protect it at this point in time. So what I want to do is blast... I think I'm going to go Collective Defiance with 2 modes, and blast our opponent and blast the Electrostatic Pummeler. That'll ensure that we get in a bunch of damage. They will still be able to draw more cards with the Glint Sleeve Siphoner, but it will cost them life, and life will be precious, since we are playing Burn. So I'm gonna go Collective Defiance with 2 modes. So 4 damage to creature, 3 damage to opponent. So Collective Defiance is really strong. Hopefully he doesn't have some other type of pump effect where he can do a bunch of crazy things, but... see what he does. Yeah, so there's Collective Defiance, taking down that Electrostatic Pummeler, and getting in for 3 damage. Collective Defiance is a really underrated red card. Most people haven't been talking about red lately for a lot of reasons, but Collective Defiance is one of the strongest red cards they've printed in a very long time. So we go to combat with the Lath-Nuhelion, get in for 4 more damage. Opponent's down to 8, and we're going to have to sacrifice the Hellion because we're out of energy. So opponent's upkeep. They decide to draw again. They're down to 7. Attune with Aether for opponent. Finds a forest. Opponent attacks, gets more energy, and we drop to 16. So another Electrostatic Pummeler for our opponent. The only thing we have to do right now is live a couple turns. We have easily enough damage in hand to kill our opponent. We just need to make sure this Electrostatic Pummeler doesn't kill us. So the choice here is either shoot our opponent in the face or kill this Pummeler and keep the Pummeler from killing us. I'm going to play the Goblin Dark Dwellers, and then I'm going to use the Collective Defiance to shoot down the Pummeler. That'll keep us alive. So shooting the Electrostatic Pummeler with the Incendiary Flow. Opponent plays a Blossoming Defense. Crap, that's not good. So it gets hexproof. Alright, so shooting our opponent in the face was probably the correct call. We might pay the price for that now. So opponent thinking about whether they want to draw extra and lose more life. All of our burn spells do 3 to the opponent, so going to 6 would actually be very, very risky. Basically any 2 burn spells other than Shock would get us there. So a little bit of a misplay last turn. See what opponent does combat-wise here. So he's going to come in with the Pummeler. He's got a ton of energy, so we're just going to have to block. It should cost him some energy and some spells just to keep his Pummeler alive, if that's what he wants to do. So he plays Built to Smash, makes it a 4/4. Okay. Alright, things might get a little nasty here. He's got 2 cards left, and makes it a 32/32 with Trample. So that's going to kill us. Well, I guess from that position there wasn't a ton we could do, because even if we shot them in the face, we wouldn't have survived back to our turn. So what do we want from the sideboard? Kerry Zev's Expertise seems reasonable. Savage Alliance seems good. Opponent didn't seem to have that much removal. How to sideboard? Maybe 1 Kerry Zev's Expertise, 2 seems excessive. What else to cut? I'll cut the Insolent Neonate. So, game 2. We'll be on the play this time. We have a 1-lander. Ooh, man. If we don't draw 2 lands, we don't play Magic. I'm going to keep it. It's risky, but I'm going to keep this. Opponent mulligans down to 6, deciding whether to go to 5. So opponent keeps at 6. Hopefully their 6 isn't great. We're going to play this Village Messenger, and it's going to get in with haste. Hopefully the opponent doesn't have a turn 1 play. If this thing flips over, Attune with Aether, turn 1 play. It's going to keep it from flipping over. Ooh, we draw a land, so that's really good. 1 more mountain, and I'll feel very secure about what we're doing. So we get in for another 1 with the Village Messenger. Unfortunately, the way I have this deck built right now, a lot of things occur at sorcery speed, which makes it very hard to flip over the Village Messenger if our opponent is playing stuff. It's very hard for us to not play something on our turn. And that's where missing cards like Lightning Strike in Standard is really painful. Having those 2-mana instant speed burn spells for 3 is really big, because then you can flip over stuff like this. Opponent plays a Voltaic Brawler. It's now back to our turn. We draw another Thermo Alchemist. Could have used the land there. Safest thing to do is going to be to ping and use this shock to blow up the Voltaic Brawler. And then we'll go to combat with the Village Messenger again. I'd really like to find another mountain on our next turn. So a second Voltaic Brawler for our opponent. Yep, getting punished now. So we can't do that much. So we'll play another Thermo Alchemist. Now if opponent doesn't have any removal, playing any spell will give us a ton of damage to our opponent's face. So opponent's going to combat. Let's see if they pay the energy. They do. Voltaic Brawler is a 4/3. And no blocks from us. So end step, fire off this Thermal Alchemist. And Village Messenger flips. This is really good. Oh, this is awesome. All right. We really wanted a land right there. We can't do that much. That kind of sucks. So we might get punished for our greedy 1-land keep. Let's go to combat. Get in with the Village Messenger. So opponent down to 13. Opponent coming in again with the Voltaic Brawler. I'm not planning to block yet. Next turn, I will probably start blocking. So no blocks. See if opponent does anything else. Nope. So we take 4, down to 12. Opponent's end step, we're going to fire off both Alchemists. Opponent's down to 11. Another Village Messenger for us. Not a land. That kind of sucks. Run out this Village Messenger. So opponent's also stuck on 2 lands, which is really helpful. Means they probably have a ton of gas in their deck, or in their hand, but at least they're not going to be able to cast everything very freely. What can opponent play right here? They can play the thing that makes it +3. They can play a Blossoming Defense. We have 3 damage on board. That'll be 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I'm going to block right here just so we don't die to something unforeseen. I'm not super comfortable with all the pump spells that are in the standard format, just because I haven't really faced this green-red energy deck all that much yet. I'm gonna block and use the Thermal Alchemist trigger, because we do have enough damage at our disposal that I just want to keep our life total kind of high. So use the Alchemist. We'll fire off our other Alchemist while we're at it. So opponent's down to 6. We'll take 1 trample. Opponent does not have a follow-up play, so we are in very good shape. Ooh, so our Village Messenger's gonna flip. Come on, land. Please. There's the land. All right. So first thing we're gonna do is go to combat with both messengers. Actually, they're flipped into the Moonrise Intruder now. And they both have Menace. So opponent's gonna shoot one of them down. Opponent drops to 4, but we have lethal. So use the Alchemist and play a Collective Defiance. Shoot him in the face. 3 damage to target opponent. And that's going to lock it up. You're fired. So we almost got punished for keeping a super risky one-lander. Red deck wins is one of the only standard decks that I would ever say you should keep a one-lander, but even then, it's still not a great idea. If our opponent had a 3rd land, we probably lose the game because it took us so long to find our 3rd land. I'm going to run it back like this. We'll be on the draw, so our lands should be better. Okay, so we have 3 lands. We have a Kari Zev, a Thermo Alchemist, actually 4 lands, Gaia Reach, and also a Shock. So we'll keep this. Opponent mulliganing again. They're down at 6, deciding whether to go to 5. And they'll keep at 6. Smoldering Marsh. Mountain for us. Aether Hub for our opponent. A Voltaic Brawler for our opponent. So I'm just going to go ahead and shoot that down with the Shock. Ooh, we draw another Shock, so that's good. What to do right here? I think I'm going to go Kari Zev so we can get some pressure on our opponent. I think next turn I'll go for the Alchemist and leave up Shock, even though the Alchemist won't have haste, so we won't be able to do everything all in one turn. But so Tireless Tracker for our opponent. We draw a Chandra Torch of Defiance, so that's good. So I'm going to set up to let this Chandra do a lot of work for us. So I'm going to play the Mountain. I'm going to shock the Tireless Tracker. Really don't want that guy staying in play.
This girl is on fire!
Go to combat, get in with Kari Zev, create our Ragavan monkey token. The image on Ragavan is still not working. Please fix Ragavan Magic Online. I'd really like to see the monkey token. Exile the monkey token. So opponent's down at 17. I'm going to play the Thermo Alchemist, and we'll pass the turn. I feel like we're in a pretty good place right now. Long Tusk Cub for our opponent. So we'll start by playing the land. The question is, yeah, I think I like to play, I think I'm just going to play Chandra and shoot the creature, because I just don't think that our opponent is going to have really that many ways to interact with Chandra. So 4 damage to the Long Tusk Cub. No mana for Blossoming Defense up. Swing in with Kari Zev. Create Ragavan. Both get in. Opponent's down to 14. Electrostatic Pummeler for our opponent. So we'll ping. Kari Zev's expertise, huh? What to do here?
Kill it with fire.
I would love for our opponent to not have Electrostatic Pummeler out. They only have 3 energy, so they don't have a ton of energy at their disposal yet. But they could easily trample and do a whole bunch of things that we don't want them to do. Ooh. We could use Chandra's mana ability, play the Goblin Dark Dwellers, and shoot the Pummeler. That's the play that I'm liking. All right, let's do that. So make some mana. We'll leave up a red mana just to feign like we're holding a Shock, just to give our opponent something to think about. So play the Goblin Dark Dwellers, target the Shock, cast Shock, shoot the Pummeler. We get an untap trigger for Thermal Alchemist, so we'll ping with Alchemist. Pummeler down. Someone help me! I'm still alive! Only I'm very badly burned! And let's go to combat. Kari Zev again, creating Ragavan. Opponent's down to 9. Exile the Ragavan token. So the other thing, too, is that Goblin Dark Dwellers has Menace and is a pretty big body. It's much harder to do 4 damage than it is to do 3 damage. Granted, they're playing Energy and Harness Lightning could get them there, but it does make them expend a lot of resources to have to actually try to kill Goblin Dark Dweller. So we'll ping our opponent end step. Ooh, another Dark Dweller. That is awesome. We have our choices this turn. I'm going to go with the Lathnu Hellion right here because I feel like that's another card that the opponent is not going to have a lot of interaction for. So swing with the team. Opponent has an Unlicensed Disintegration. All right, so that's fair. That will blow up the Goblin Dark Dwellers. Did not foresee that play coming. But I think we've still got lethal on our opponent. That's 7. Yeah, we still have lethal easily. They'll need another play if they want to survive. Opponent down to 1. Exile the token. Tap Thermo Alchemist. And that's the game. That's the match.
The Ring of Fire.
So this is mono red Aether Revolt burn. The thing I really like about this deck is that a lot of decks are messing around with multicolors right now and really awkward mana bases with tap lands that are like really conditional. When your mana base is 3 Gaia Reach Sanitariums and 20 mountains, your mana is very consistent. You don't get color screwed. The only thing you need to watch out for is just drawing enough lands. In Game 2, we almost got punished for keeping a one-lander, but our opponent drew equally as bad as us, so we were able to squeak it out. But yeah, this deck is just, it's super efficient. Everyone right now is trying to go big and trying to do these big dirtily things, you know, mid-range, green, black, and go for the Splinter Twin combo and things like that. There really is an opportunity right now to just get in under everyone else by playing consistent mana, 1-drops and 2-drops, and just being able to pressure your opponent while having removal and burn. One other thing to keep in mind is that this video was recorded before the Pro Tour, So, having watched the Pro Tour this past weekend, there were a ton of aggressive decks. Mardu Vehicles was everywhere. This deck will need to be tweaked a little bit in order to fight against Mardu Vehicles and other aggressive decks. Right before the Pro Tour, everyone was testing a lot of really slow, dirtily decks, and that's where I was having a lot of the success with Mono Red Burn. I am going to keep experimenting with Mono Red Burn, but some tweaks are definitely going to be needed with a ton of players switching over to Mardu Vehicles and Black Green Constrictor. So anyway, this has been Mono Red Burn for Aether Revolt. Let me know if you guys enjoyed seeing some standard gameplay. I normally do commander stuff, but every once in a while I do like to dabble in standard. Let me know if you'd like to see more standard stuff. Let me know if you'd like to see more of this deck in particular, and let me know what you think of this current deck list. There probably are some good revisions that can be made to tune this deck just a little bit better, so let me know what you guys think. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you for watching.
Only you can prevent forest fires.